We're back in the basement with John DiLeo for the premiere episode of a new series that we're starting, Not Even Nominated. And for the first victim, or how should I call it, you've chosen who?
We're going to talk about Edward G. Robinson. I thought that would be a good one to start with because he's dead center on the cover of the book, and he was actually never nominated for an Oscar.
Wow.
But as I was explained, the title's not even nominated, but the subtitle is 40 Overlooked Co-Stars of Oscar-Winning Performances. So you actually can be someone who was nominated for an Oscar or someone even who won an Oscar, just not specifically for the movie I'm talking about. So in each of the 40 examples, someone in the movie won an Oscar, but there's someone over here who was also wonderful in this movie, but that person wasn't nominated for this film, and I sort of give them their due.
Who won the Oscar in Robinson's film?
In Robinson's film, Key Largo from 1948, the winner was for the Best Supporting Actress, Claire Trevor, and she is fabulous. I'm not saying he was better than she was. She was absolutely fabulous and completely deserved an award for her great performance. But he and her, their characters are kind of tied to each other, and they play off each other, and so he is part of her performance. There's the Claire Trevor, Edward G. Robinson movie, and then there's kind of the Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall movie in the same movie.
Was Bogart nominated?
No, nobody else was. Bogart and Bacall are the good people, and I mean Claire Trevor's playing a good person, but she's she's been around the block. She's she's boozy, and she's we used to call her in old movies. They would call her a tart or a floozy, that kind of stereotype. But she plays it brilliantly. So they're more fun, she and Edward G. Robinson, because he's playing a disreputable gangster who seems to have no good qualities. But I liked writing about him in this movie because this is 17 years after he became a star playing Little Caesar, one of the most famous gangsters in movie history. Made him a star. He played all kinds of roles in the 17 years between the two movies. Yes, he played many gangsters, but he proved he was a very versatile actor with quite a range. But people remember him as a gangster. That's how he became an icon or a legend of the movie industry of Hollywood's golden age. And I think him being neglected for a nomination for this film would probably be explained by the fact, like, oh, there he is again. Edward G. Robinson's playing a gangster. He could do this in his sleep. It's no big news. And yet I think it's probably the best acted gangster he ever gave us. It's much more nuanced than, say, Little Caesar or some of the lesser movies between that one and this one. And he is, terrific in this movie because he's not only tough and nasty, but he's got wonderful insecurities. You can see fear in him. You could see this pathetic little man trying to puff himself up with all the hangers-on around him. And he's funny. And it's just that it just shows, even if it's a stock role, which it is for Claire Trevor as well, they're both so good. They bring so much to these characters. They surpass the stereotypes, and they make this movie riveting.
How did he feel about not being nominated?
There wasn't as much coverage of the Oscars as there. Today they start predicting everything in June, and we're inundated with Oscar stuff, and people ask. I think it was a much more. They could be much more removed from all the nonsense part of it. I don't know how he felt because he did see his fellow gangster icons, Humphrey Bogart and Jimmy Cagney, both win Oscars at some point. Both not for playing gangsters.
Right.
Jimmy Cagney in a musical, Yankee Doodle Dandy, Bogart in The African Queen, a wonderful comedy romantic adventure. They did give Edward G. Robinson an honorary Oscar, and it was announced, and he was alive to know it was coming, but he died before the ceremony, so he never got to receive it, and it was his wife who accepted the Oscar on Oscar night. So it was too little too late. And
but at least he got the validation of...
but even if he'd never won, he should have been up for Little Caesar, and he was good. The Sea Wolf, or The Woman in the Window, or Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet, and he was so good, and he had a very long career, and he was an unlikely prospect for movie stardom. He wasn't
From the
particularly
beginning.
handsome. He wasn't tall. He didn't have any of what you'd call the stuff that makes people say you're going to be a movie star. He hit it because he connected with a character that the audience responded to, and so he had enormous luck as well with the timing, but just no award recognition. Yeah, it was just didn't work out. And I guess every time you're not nominated, the Academy thinks you'll be back next year, but sometimes you're
Right.
not back ever again.
Yeah. So Edward G., we appreciate you, even if the Academy didn't during your
Yes.
lifetime.
Key Largo.
And John's book is
Not even nominated.
available now. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Nick.